Describe something you did with a group of people.
I'd like to tell you about a really enjoyable experience I had with a group of people. It was a mountain hike to the top. We did it at a state park about an hour away from my city. I went with a group of friends, about 10 of us in total. We had been planning the hike for weeks and were all excited to finally go. When the day came, we all met at the park early in the morning to begin our hike. The hike was difficult, but it was also breathtakingly beautiful. We hiked through dense forest, over streams and up rocky trails. We arrived at the summit after a few hours, and the view was breathtaking. In every direction, we could see for miles. It was incredible. We spent some time at the summit taking photos and admiring the scenery. Following that, we began our descent back down the mountain. The descent was much easier than the ascent, but it was still a great workout. We finished the hike with a picnic lunch that we had packed. We sat on the grass and ate our food while laughing and chatting. It was a fantastic way to cap off an incredible journey. On this hike, I had a great time with my friends. It was a difficult, but also beautiful and enjoyable, experience. I felt like we all grew closer as a group, and I couldn't have spent more time with them. I'm excited to repeat the experience next year. Overall, it was a fantastic experience, and I felt like I had a great time with my friends. I learned that nature is a powerful way to connect with people and have a good time. I will remember that hike and the memories we made that day for the rest of my life. Vocabulary list. Ascent, the action or process of climbing or going up. Breathtaking, extremely impressive. Cap off, to finish or complete something. Close, to become more friendly or intimate with someone. Dense, tightly packed or crowded. Enjoyable, pleasant or fun. Incredible, too good to be true. Journey, a trip or expedition. Memories, a recollection of past events. Planning, the act of making arrangements for something. Packed, filled with a lot of things. State park, a park that is owned and maintained by a state government. Summit, the top of a mountain. Workout, a period of physical exercise.
Describe your first day at school.
This topic is a bit tricky because my memory of my schooling is a little rusty. I am going to tell you about my first day of secondary school. It was a big day for me because I was starting high school in a new district at a new school. I was both nervous and excited to embark on this new chapter in my life. I had to take the bus to get to school because it was in another city. I recall getting up early that morning, dressing and eating breakfast before heading to the bus stop. I couldn't even finish my breakfast because I was so nervous. When I arrived at school, I was greeted by a sea of new faces. I felt like a fish out of water, but I tried to remain optimistic. A friendly upperclassman gave me a tour of the school, which made me feel a little more at ease. Throughout the day, I met new people and spoke with a variety of students. I made some new friends and even joined a club that piqued my interest. It was at times overwhelming, but I was determined to make the most of my first day. By the end of the day, I was exhausted but also ecstatic about the start of the new school year. I thought I did well on my first day and was looking forward to the next. My first day of high school was both terrifying and exciting. I was a little out of my element, but I was determined to make the most of it. I was relieved to have met new people and joined a club that piqued my interest. I was relieved that I had overcome my nerves and had a successful first day. Vocabulary list. At ease, relaxed and comfortable. Embark, to begin a journey or undertaking. Enthused, showing or feeling strong excitement or interest. Exhausted, extremely tired. Fish out of water, someone who feels out of place in a particular situation. Nervous, feeling anxious or worried. Optimistic, hopeful and confident about the future. Piqued, aroused or stimulated. Overwhelming, too much to deal with. Optimistic, hopeful and confident about the future. Rusty, old and unused. Tour, a journey or trip through a particular place. Tricky, difficult. Upperclassman, a student in the upper grades of a school, college, or university.
Describe a time when you taught a friend or relative something.
I want to tell you about the time when I taught my cousin how to bake a cake. I've always been a huge fan of baking and have been doing so for quite some time. One weekend, my cousin came to visit me and mentioned that she wanted to learn how to bake a cake. So I thought it would be a fantastic opportunity to teach her. I showed her how to make a traditional vanilla cake from scratch. We began by gathering and measuring all of the ingredients. Then I explained the importance of precision in baking and the importance of following the recipe exactly. We combined the ingredients and she assisted me in pouring the batter into the cake pan. The cake was then placed in the oven and allowed to bake. Meanwhile, we made the frosting. I showed her how to make a traditional buttercream frosting and how to decorate the cake. We removed the cake from the oven and set it aside to cool. We frosted and decorated the cake together after it had cooled. She was overjoyed to see the finished product, and I must say, it was fantastic. I was very proud of her and pleased that I could share my passion for baking with her. It was a wonderful bonding experience, and it was wonderful to see her so enthusiastic about something she had created herself. Overall, it was a wonderful experience. I felt good about sharing my passion with someone and assisting them in learning something new. I was overjoyed to be able to assist my cousin, and I was overjoyed that we were able to bond over something as simple as baking a cake. List of vocabulary with explanations. Baking, the activity of cooking food in an oven using a recipe. Batter, a mixture of ingredients that is poured or spooned into a cake tin before baking. Bonding, the formation of a close relationship. Decorate, to add designs or ornaments to something, in order to make it more attractive. Enthusiastic, having or showing intense and eager enjoyment, interest or approval. Frosting, a sweet and creamy coating applied to cakes or pastries. Huge fan of, really keen on something. Overjoyed, extremely happy and excited. Precision, the quality of being accurate and exact. Recipe, a set of instructions for preparing a particular dish, including a list of the ingredients required. Scratch, made from raw materials rather than from pre-prepared ingredients.
Describe a historical period that you are interested in.
I want to tell you about a historical period that fascinates me called the Renaissance. In high school, I first learned about the Renaissance in history class. I was captivated by the period's art, science, and culture. The Renaissance era in Europe saw the emergence of many new ideas and ways of thinking. Art and science flourished during the Renaissance. Masterpieces were being created by artists such as Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo, and grand structures such as St. Peter's Basilica were being designed by architects. Discoveries about the natural world were being made by scientists such as Galileo and Copernicus. There was also a revitalization of interest in classical literature and philosophy. What fascinates me about the Renaissance is how it marked a watershed moment in human history. People began to question the status quo and think for themselves at this time. It was a period of great innovation and creativity that laid the groundwork for many of the advances we have today. I'm also interested in the Renaissance because of the art and culture of the time. I'm particularly taken with the period's art, which was incredibly realistic and detailed. The Renaissance artists were able to capture the human form in ways that had never been seen before. I'm also drawn to the grand and ornate architecture of the time. Overall, I find the Renaissance to be a fascinating historical period. The art, science, and culture of the time were revolutionary, and the ideas and innovations that emerged during this period continue to have an impact on the world today. It's fascinating to me how it was a watershed moment in human history when people began to question the status quo and think for themselves. I'm also interested in the period's art, science, and culture, as well as how it influenced the world today. List of vocabulary with explanations. Classical literature, literature from ancient Greece and Rome. Copernicus, a Polish astronomer and mathematician who proposed that the Earth and other planets revolve around the Sun. Galileo, an Italian astronomer, physicist, and mathematician who lived during the Renaissance period. Innovations, new ideas, methods, or products. Masterpieces, a work of art that is considered to be of the highest quality. Ornate, decorated with elaborate and intricate details. Philosophy, the study of the fundamental nature of knowledge, reality, and existence. Renaissance, a cultural and intellectual movement that began in Italy in the 14th century and spread throughout Europe in the 15th and 16th centuries. Status quo, the existing state of affairs. St. Peter's Basilica, a large church located in Vatican City, Rome, built during the Renaissance period. Watershed moment, a significant event that marks a turning point in history.
Describe something you did that made you feel proud.
I want to tell you about something I did recently that made me extremely proud. I completed a half marathon. I had been training for months, and it was a significant personal achievement for me. I decided to run the half marathon to test myself and push my limits. I began training for it in the summer, and it has been a difficult journey. I had to get up early to run before work and give up a lot of my free time to train. But I was determined to complete it. The half marathon day had finally arrived, and I was a nervous wreck. I felt like I had done everything I could to prepare and was ready to give it my all. I started running, and it was difficult, but I persisted. I had some setbacks, but I never gave up. I kept going until I reached the finish line. It was an amazing feeling, and I was so proud of myself for finishing it. I had never run that far or pushed myself that hard before. It was a huge achievement for me, and I felt like I could accomplish anything. It made me proud because I set a goal for myself and accomplished it. It was difficult and time-consuming, and I felt as tired as a dog, but I succeeded. It was a true testament to my perseverance and fortitude. It also served as a reminder that I am capable of accomplishing anything I set my mind to. Overall, it was a huge accomplishment that made me extremely proud. It reminded me that I am capable of accomplishing anything, and that hard work and determination will pay off in the end. It was an unforgettable experience that I will never forget. List of vocabulary with explanations. Half marathon, a long-distance race with a distance of 21.0975 kilometers. Fortitude, strength of mind that enables a person to face adversity with courage. Personal achievement, an accomplishment that is significant to an individual. Perseverance, the ability to continue trying to do something despite difficulty or failure. Setback, an obstacle or disappointment that hinders progress. Tired as a dog, really tired. Training, the process of preparing for an event or activity through exercise and practice.
Describe an activity you enjoyed in your free time when you were young.
I want to tell you about an activity I used to enjoy when I was younger. It was playing with my dolls and making up imaginary worlds for them. I'd spend hours in my room setting up various scenes and settings for my dolls to play in. I used to do this activity in my room, where I had a special corner for my dolls. I had a small table and chairs, a miniature kitchen, and even a dollhouse. I used to spend hours rearranging furniture and decorating the dollhouse in order to create different scenes for my dolls to play in. I did this activity by myself, but I enjoyed it because it allowed me to use my imagination to create my own little world. I would make up stories and scenarios for my dolls to act out as a way to escape reality and have fun. I also enjoyed playing with my dolls because it allowed me to express my creativity and give me control over my own little world. This activity was a lot of fun for me because it allowed me to be creative and use my imagination. It was also a way for me to unwind and get away from the stresses of daily life. I enjoyed having complete control over my own little world. It allowed me to express myself while also having fun. Even though I am now older, I recall fondly playing with my dolls and creating my own worlds. It was a unique experience that I will always remember and cherish. I believe it is critical for children to participate in activities that allow them to use their imaginations and express themselves. It allows them to escape reality and have fun. That's exactly what it was for me, a lot of fun. List of vocabulary with explanations. Cherish, highly value. Complete control, having full authority or power over something. Creativity, the ability to use imagination and original ideas to make or do something new. Decorate, to add beauty or elegance to something. Imagination, the ability to form mental images or concepts of things not present to the senses. Make up, to invent or create a story or scenario. Miniature, very small in size. Rearrange, to change the position of something. Scenario, a series of events or a situation that is imagined or predicted. Stress, a state of mental or emotional strain caused by adverse circumstances. Unwind, to relax or become less tense.
Describe a daily routine you enjoy.
I would like to tell you about my morning yoga practice. I usually do it as soon as I wake up, before I begin my day. I do it in my living room, where I have a mat and plenty of room to move. I've been doing yoga for a few years and it's become a part of my daily routine. It helps me to get my day started on the right foot. It enables me to wake up my body and clear my mind before facing the ups and downs of the day ahead. To wake up my muscles and get my blood flowing, I usually begin my practice with some gentle stretches. Then I progress to more difficult poses, such as warrior and crow. These poses help me to build strength and balance. I also like to end my practice with some relaxation poses, such as child's pose, to prepare for the day. I enjoy my morning yoga practice because it gives me energy and focus. It's a great way to start the day and set the tone for the rest of it. Yoga also helps me to stay mindful and present throughout the day. Overall, I enjoy my morning yoga practice and look forward to it every day. It's a simple, yet effective way to begin my day and set a positive tone for the rest of it. It makes me feel energized, focused, and mindful, which is why I love it. I believe that having a daily routine that you enjoy is important because it makes it more likely that you will stick to it and reap the benefits in the long run. List of vocabulary with explanations. Cherish, highly value. Daily routine, a set of activities that are regularly done at a specific time. Mindful, paying attention to the present moment. Pose, a specific position of the body in yoga. Relaxation, the state of being calm and free from stress. Ups and downs, good and bad things. Yoga, a physical, mental, and spiritual practice that originated in ancient India.
Let's move on now and have a look at some ideas for answering this type of question. The next big category of topics is activities. You want to prepare language and prepare ideas for talking about activities. Let's see some ideas. We can start off and talk about who we do an activity with. This means we're talking about people. I talked about describing people earlier, so you can recycle what you've learnt about people here. It could be that we describe the activity and then we move on and describe who we do the activity with. We can use some of our adjectives for describing people, such as extrovert. Maybe doing the activity such as camping with Bob, who's an extrovert, makes it more fun because he tells funny jokes and keeps everybody entertained. We can talk about where we do the activity, and we can use our ideas and language related to places. We could talk about the location. With this picture you can see on your screen, it looks like a coastal location, tranquil atmosphere. We can talk about things that we need to do this activity. So we're back to describing things. Maybe you take your smartphone. Maybe you use it to take photos or to watch movies when you're bored at night. We've also got some other aspects that we can talk about, such as when we do the activity. Words such as on weekends, in the winter, at dawn, which means daybreak, or dusk, sundown. We can talk about why we do the activity, the reason, maybe to unwind, which is another way of saying relax, or to have fun. Maybe we have a lot of fun doing it. Maybe we're in high spirits when we do it. We can talk about preparations and what we need to prepare for this activity, the planning and equipment that are needed. This will particularly be the case if you are familiar with an activity in English. For instance, if you go camping, you might know some of the equipment that you need for camping, such as a tent and maybe a spade and maybe a flashlight. We can talk about what happens and the different time aspects of this. What happens before the activity? What happens during the activity? What happens after the activity? So let's take an activity such as camping and just see what are some of the things that we could talk about when we're describing camping to the examiner. We could talk about what happens after dusk. Maybe we play the guitar. Maybe we light a lantern so that we've got some light and read a book. We could talk about the tranquil atmosphere, how quiet it is, how peaceful it is. We could talk about some of the equipment we need, a tent, some oil, a lamp. We put oil in the lamp to burn it. And then the guitar, the musical instrument that you see there. This activity is called abseiling. Abseiling is a bit like mountain climbing, but it involves a lot of equipment, and people that are doing this are very serious about what they're doing. Let's see some of the language we could use to describe this activity. We could talk about the time and doing it at the crack of dawn. The crack of dawn means the very start of the daylight period of the day. We could talk about it being exhilarating or exciting. You might feel petrified while doing this activity. Petrified means scared. You could describe the panoramic view. A panoramic view is a wide-angle view, a 180 or a 360 degree view of something is a panoramic view. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of a series of 5 themes for your IELTS test part 2. The 5 themes are people, places, things, activities, experiences. If you prepare for these 5 themes, you're going to be well prepared to take your test. You're going to be able to deal with any of the topics that you get in your test. If you're interested in part 1 questions, I have some separate videos for those, and you might like to check out some of those. If you are preparing for a test, you might also be interested in my speaking course. I've got details of my IELTS Speaking Success course in the details below this video. Best of luck preparing for your test in